Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the first lecture of ClearPass Fundamentals. And we will be discussing about the deployment, that how to deploy a ClearPass server. So, the first thing we will require is a software image. Okay, so you have to go to this page, show you that, and networkingsupport.hpe.com, and you have to make an account on this and have to log in into it. So once you're going to log in, you should be able to see all the images available. You should be seeing a page, something like this. Okay, you have to go to software document, and you have to select the software which you have to install. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to download the ClearPass image. To go to software, you have to go to ClearPass Policy Manager, and the latest image you have to download. So it depends what platform you're going to deploy it. So it could be a Hyper-V, it could be a ESXi image, it could be a KVM. So that's totally dependent on your requirement. Now, the first thing we will require is to download the image. In my particular case, I have a Hyper-V install. So I will be downloading the Hyper-V image. So I have to select Hyper-V. It will tell you what are the versions which are being available on this. What are the versions? So in my case, 6.11 is something which is being recommended by the Aruba engineers or like Aruba Tech. So we will be downloading the 6.11 image. So for that, you just have to click on this option. This is for the documentation and release notes, and you have to click on this option. Once you will click on this, you will be able to see that the image is getting downloaded. So where you will be able to see it in the download page. So I will go to downloads. And yeah, here we go. So let's wait for it to get downloaded. Once it is downloaded, we will continue. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Seems like there was some issue. So we'll go to new hard disk. Now here I'm going to select my VHDX image. I can make it fixed size. That's absolutely fine. Depending on my requirement, it's always recommended to make it fixed size. Next. Okay, sorry about that. It seems like there was some issue with the file permissions, which I have done. So now you have to go to you won't be seeing this on your computer, so that's absolutely fine. You have to go to import virtual machine. Click on next. Now select the folder which has the image inside it. So let's see, for an instance, this is the image which I have recently downloaded, right? So the date today is 6/28/2024, and this is the one which I've downloaded. So I'm going to extract this file. Let me extract it first. Let me see if we see the extracted image here. So 6/1/2024, this is the one. Let me extract this one real quick. Right click, extract all. I'm going to extract it here. The extraction is going on. So just remember, you have to make sure you're selecting the path where the image is. If you're going to select the folder, even if it's in a even if it's in a subfolder, it won't work. Okay, so you have to make sure that you have to select the path where the image is. So what I can do here, I already have this file like extracted here. I can copy it and I can move this file to this virtual CPPM machine, and it will also need one XML file. Okay, so the XML file also you can find here. So instead of that, what is the easy solution? Whatever if you have any Hyper-V directory, right? You can just copy this entire folder and paste it here. So I'm not going to do it just because it's going to take a lot of time. And this also, I think we can remove this was just to show you. Okay, it's still going on. Let's wait for it to get completed. All right, let's try to delete it now. It should be good. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now let's wait for this guy to extract everything we have. And then once we are able to do it, we should be able to get it done. Okay, so this is done. Now I will go to my Hyper-V, and just to give you a recap here, we went to. I will cancel this. We went to this and we clicked on import virtual machines. Next, you have to select the folder where your image is, like the extracted one. So I have to select this one, select folder. Next, now you can see it is able to find the image automatically. Next. So you have to just click here next. You don't have to modify any values. It's not required. Now I'm going to give it an external access or internal access. That's a VNIC which I have like a vSwitch which I have created. So I will be giving it as anything internal access. That's absolutely fine. Network, internal access. Okay, so there are two interfaces. One is the management port, one is the data port. We will talk about it. And next, finish. It's going to import it. Now, before you turn on the machine, make sure you have at least two hard disks attached to this particular VM. If you are going to have only a single hard disk, it won't work. So let's try to boot the machine with a single hard disk once and see how it goes. Okay, so I will click on the console. It's trying to get the console of the device. Here you go. We are able to boot the image. Now enter. It may take some time. It's not a very easy process. It's a kind of a time consuming. It's actually an easy process, but it's actually a very time consuming process, which may take some time. So if you are working in a company and you have some plans, you are going to plan a maintenance window, I would say we need at least a day to deploy it entirely, at least a day. So the installation maintenance window should be planned for at least 4 hours in case of worst case scenarios. So I'm going to give it a CLab V. So it totally depends on the subscription you have. CLab V, C1000V, C2000V, C3000V. So it like totally depends on the subscription you have taken from Aruba. If your image is C1000V, it is going to have some minimum requirement. The same is also applicable for 2000V, 3000V. So there should be a lot of memory. So there is a memory guide for that, like a configuration guide for that, which I will be showing in the next lecture. So let's select CLab V. Now see what it's saying. Attach a second hard drive, SCSI 0:1 with a recommended capacity and bring up this device, this VM. So as I told you, it requires at least 2 hard disks attached. So I'm going to stop it. We can close it for now. We can just shut it down, turn off. Now I will go to Hyper-V settings. Inside the Hyper-V settings, oh, sorry, not Hyper-V settings, just settings. So as you can see, these are the allocated things. I will go to a SCSI controller to a hard disk, and I will add one more hard disk real quick. So let's go hard drive. I'm going to add a hard drive. Add. So one is in use. I will give it as you can see, the one is in use. So 0 in use, one in use SCSI controller. And I will name this hard drive as like anything. You can give anything. That's fine. So I will browse it, and I will give the name as new virtual hard disk. That should be good. I already have one created. So if you want to create a new, you can do that. You would be able to do it from here. That's not a part, like that's not the agenda of this particular series. So you have to, like how to create a hard disk and like all that stuff. You can go through the Microsoft documentation. From there, you should be able to see what are the configuration, what are the ways to configure the hard disk. So for now, I'm just going to select a new virtual hard disk. That should be it. I will click on apply. Okay. Now I will go to settings again to see if the changes are affected. So yeah, here you go. As you can see, there are 2 hard disks, 2 SCSI controller hard disk, and both are the virtual hard disk, as you can see. So if you have any physical hard disk attached to your server, you can use that as well. But since we do not have it right now, so it's not showing up. So I'm going to boot the device again. Start. Okay, it's running now. Let's take the console of this guy. So I'm going to select CLAB. There you go. So right now it's saying that the required system configuration is 2 gig of 2 CPUs, 6 gig of RAM, and total size should be 160. We have a lesser hard disk space. I will always recommend, if you are going to implement this in a production server, then I will always recommend to give at least 500 gig of hard disk. At least, that's actually at least. For CLAB, well, CLAB is not even recommended for production. You should at least go for C1000V if you are going to implement it in the production. So there is a configuration guide for that, and there's a minimum specification guide for that. You should be able to find it here. If I will go to the browser and I will search for Aruba ClearPass minimum specs for Hyper-V. So if I will open this, you should be able to see that these are the specifications for ESXi, and these are the specifications for Hyper-V. So make sure that you are using these specifications. If you are going below that, you will be facing performance issues. So make sure about that. Now let's continue. So I want to continue. That's fine if my configuration does not meet the like the recommended system configuration. Still, I want to continue since I'm not going to put it in any production. So I'll say yes. So it's saying that it will remove everything from the hard disk. That's fine. I don't have anything in this hard disk. It's saying if you want to encrypt system encryption. So that's fine. I can encrypt it. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind. If you don't want to do it, you can just say N. So it is going to take some time. Now, I will be pausing this lecture just because it's going to take some time. Once it will come up with the configuration, I will start it again. Okay. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, everyone. So I think the ClearPass is now installed. So we have to go to the console. You should be seeing this sort of console once you are going to complete the process. You have to enter the password. For the CLI, it's going to be app admin. And the password is going to be etips123. etips123. E as in small and TIPS in caps. So I will type the password for you here. Default is going to be app admin and etips123. You can change it later, but this is going to be the default one. And just remember, app admin is always going to be for CLI, not for the UI. For UI, it's going to be just admin. Okay, perfect. So now we can enter the host name. Host name, let's say I will do CPPM lab. IP address, which is the management IP address. I can put it as 192.168.100/24. Gateway 192.168.1.1. Management port IPv6 address. I'm not going to use any IPv6 address. IPv4 address for the data port. So we will come to the data port later. There are two ports in the ClearPass. One is the management, another one is the data. So we will come to that later. Give me a minute. Okay, perfect. So no IPv6 address, DNS. So I can add DNS like the DNS I am using. Let me see. Let's put 192.168.1.101. Secondary DNS I can leave empty. Slack mode, I don't want to enable Slack mode. If you want to learn what is Slack mode, you can go through the documentation. It's something which is related to the encryption. Okay, so Slack mode. Tell you what is Slack mode, so you will be able to understand it better. So Slack mode is used when you want to put a stateless address location. So we don't need stateless address. We are going to put the stateful address. So we don't need it. New password, confirm password, I put as like Aruba123. So I can just confirm that. Do you want to configure date and time? I'm going to say yes. I want to configure date and time. I want to set the time manually. You can either use set the time manually, or you can use the NTP server to configure the time. Now the date today is 2024. 08 and 6 and system time. I can put it as I work in the Central European time zone, so I can put it as 15:48 08 time zone. Yes, I have to configure the time zone as well. I work in Europe, so I will select Europe. You can select according to your requirement, whether it's India or America, whatever you want. So I live in Netherlands. I can select 32. Yes, information is okay. FIPS mode is something which will be used for the security. I'm sorry, I just got confused with Slack and FIPS. FIPS is something which will be used in security. FIPS is, so if you are a banking organization and you don't want your information, like you want your information, everything to be encrypted, right? In that case, you can use the FIPS mode. So FIPS mode is basically used by the federal agencies. It's actually according to the standards. I would say it's according to the standards which federal agencies use. So if you're curious what does FIPS means, FIPS stands for Federal Information Processing Standards. There are some protocols, or I would say there are some few principles which is being followed if the FIPS is enabled. So we are not a federal agency, so we can say no. It's going to give you an overview whether the configuration looks fine or not. For me, it seems to be good. So I'm going to save this configuration. So now this is going to take some time. And in the meantime, I will be telling you that what is going to be the agenda of this entire lecture. So you can understand that what is going to be the roadmap for this. Give me a second. Let me open up whiteboard. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start it. So on the day one, we are going to cover the basics, what's going on. Let's not use the whiteboard. Let's just use simple text. That's going to be easier. So in the day one, we are going to go for installation on Hyper-V. Then we will go for installation on ESXi. Then we will go for basic configuration and modules of ClearPass. And we will go for AD integration and policy configuration, policy and service configuration. Once this is done, we will start performing the test with user. So in this, I'm also going to cover a theoretical part for Radius, TechAxe, and in Radius, we are going to cover protocols like EAP, EAP-TLS, and what else? PAP, like what is the basic difference between these? If you have to go through these protocols, you can definitely we'll go through the RFC, since we are just only going to cover the overview and the difference between these. TechAxe and TechAxe ClearPass only support two methods. One is ASCII and PAP. So we can use that. Apart from that, what else? Clustering. We will go for clustering. Clustering, then advanced dictionaries. Apart from this, once these topics are done, we will go for another module like guest and on guard and onboard. So yeah, that should be it. These are some things we are going to cover. So by the end of this lecture, you should be able to perform a intermediate level troubleshooting. I'm not saying the basic level, intermediate level troubleshooting on ClearPass, and all would be able to clear all the interviews. I mean, I will be also educating you about some logs, and how to see the logs in ClearPass and how the logs actually work. So you should be able to perform these sort of actions once we are done with this particular course. So this, I think this is done. I think it's still going on. So the services are getting restarted, it seems like. So in the meantime, we can get a, okay, in the next lecture, I will be creating a computer VM. Like that's not going to be the part of the lecture, but I will create a computer in the same VM since I don't have another VM in the same subnet. I will be creating that, and we will be navigating through the ClearPass graphical interface as well. Also, we will cover that how to install this in the ESXi. All right, that should be it. Thank you so much, and please watch the next lecture as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.